Mike Hosking Breakfast, 6 to 9 weekdays on Newstalk ZB.
You know, it was hard to watch the China spying coverage yesterday without wondering what all the fuss was about, really. I mean, it had an air of breathlessness about it, as though this had come as some sort of shock or surprise. I mean, does the fact China spies on people honestly come as news to anybody? I mean, I guess the hacking, as the Prime Minister suggested, is new, but spying and hacking, it's all under the same broad category of skullduggery, isn't it? I mean, have a look at the 60 Minutes Australia piece over the weekend, or the associated coverage in the Sydney Morning Herald or The Age in Melbourne on the story of the plane landing fully loaded in Fiji, packed to the gunnels with Chinese police from China, who then wander around the island, grab a bunch of people, put them on the plane and take them back to Beijing. Have a look at the Chinese in places like the Solomons and PNG these days with their security operations and services and contracts. Have a look at the ongoing tit-for-tat between the United States and China, or the UK and China. China basically are bad actors all over the world and have been for years. And I would be equally surprised if those that had the wherewithal, the likes of the Americans and the British and any major player in the European continent, aren't doing pretty much the same sort of thing. When the GSC or the GCSB or the SAS speak, which isn't often, the cyber activity of all sorts of people raises a lot of eyebrows, not by the fact it's actually happening, but the fact that it's so damn common. The ACO head in Australia, he's a bloke well worth listening to, given he pops up periodically and tells the same story with real flourish. His last report, just a month or so back, revealed that there was an ex-Australian MP who was busy undertaking nefarious activity for the Chinese. He was a spy. He refused to name them, much to the chagrin of all the current MPs who claim to have been tainted by association. But the simple truth in all of this is the Chinese are not to be trusted. But then I assume that they would argue the same thing about us. But beyond that, we're happy to be friendly in each other's company and exchange a serious amount of goods, which is the weird two-way street that is trade. For a country like America, they can make much of spying activity. They can call the Chinese out. They can threaten and impose sanctions. People like Trump collect votes on this sort of rhetoric, of course. China spies. China has a big global ideology and a desire to influence a lot of people all over the world. Doesn't make it right or anywhere close to being right, but this is not new.
The Mike Hosking Breakfast, 6 to 9 weekdays on Newstalk ZB.